Oh, here we go. Hi, guys, and welcome to another live song share. I'm curious who is here, who are our returners. Let me know in the chat if you have been here before, and if we have any newcomers, please say so. I would love to know whose first time it is. Awesome. Okay, cool. It looks like we are coming in. We got Keatnose. Hello, Keatnose. Great to see you. Who are our other friends? Taro. Yeah, we love to see it. Welcome back for another session. Josh Comedy. Yes, we love to see it. Josh, stoked to have you here today. Excited to hear what you're working on. And hello to the friends on Instagram. Come join us on YouTube. More fun over here, and you can submit and listen to our tracks. And Art Machine, hello, welcome, first timer. Love to see it. So, if this is your first time, let me just break it down really quickly what we are doing. I'm going to be listening to your songs and giving feedback. If you want to submit a song that either you're just stoked to share and you want other people to hear, or if you have one in particular that you have a specific question on, or you just want general feedback on, I am going to be listening and giving you my opinion on your song. So you can go ahead and upload that with a link in the YouTube description. There's a little link there to submit your song. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start by opening up the chat and asking you to just type the name of your song, and then I'm going to add just the first 5 that come through. We're going to go ahead and listen to all of those, and then once we get to the end of those, then I'm going to do another re-up of the queue, and we'll keep going until we run out of songs. Hello, Ashley. Yay. Hell yeah, we're all filing in here. So we got a good amount of submissions right off the bat. So let's open it up. Go ahead, you guys, and type the exact name of the song you uploaded in the chat, and we will go ahead and start adding them to the queue. A couple just baseline notes is that one, this is a good vibes only kind of zone. So I love having you guys type your own feedback back in the chat. Y'all are welcome and encouraged to do so, but we're just making sure to keep it positive. I don't even really have to state this because you guys are always good vibes only, but just a reminder. And then we're also going to be creating a playlist. I'm going to remember off the top to do it this time. We're going to be creating a playlist. So if you particularly like a song, go ahead and write playlist in the chat and I'll make sure to add it to the playlist. All right, we've got some songs coming in. First off, we have Tarot Shattered. Wow, I love it when people type the exact name as it appears to me. Let's add that to the queue. Next up, Imprisoned Acceptance. Oh, again, exactly how it reads here. Love it. Add to queue. We've got Elisa. Hi, Elisa. I think it might be your first time here. I don't necessarily recognize that name. Comatose. There we are. Let's add to the queue. Ashley has show and serve with others. Ashley Page ID Thissone. Well, this is the one that I'm on right now. So let's go ahead and do this one. Let's go ahead and add this to the queue. And then we've got Art Machine with G minor 2 EQ4. LOL to that very producer core name. Add to the queue. All right, so let's hop right in. We've got Tarot Shattered. Let's give it a listen. Actually, for some reason, it is not sharing the Chrome audio, which I know is a problem we had last time, but I actually problem solved and fixed it yesterday. Let me try to see why that's not active. Monitoring off, that might be it. Let me see here. Okay, let's reinstating the defaults. Let's try another window capture. Maybe it's the window capture that isn't working. Let's try this. Let me share it real fast. That's annoying. It's still not sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and restore defaults, and we might just have to share the entire screen. Let's see if the audio works now. It does. Okay, that's annoying. We'll just share the entire screen. That's fine. Let me just resize it for you guys here. Life is just one big technical difficulty. That's fine. All right. Cool. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a listen. Thanks for your patience, guys.
What's going on inside my mind? I feel it crashing. Wish I could be who I was before those days are gone. If you knew what a love is, maybe we'd still be driving on the same old road. I miss us, but the truth is we weren't meant to be forever. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter. I can't lose myself, need to let go. It's now or never. Want to break the spell you've put on me, never coming back, just let me be. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter. If you knew what a lie is, not as much, but the truth is. Want to break the spell you put on me, never coming back, just let me be. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter. I thought I was just what you need, your words were shallow. And all this time I needed me, I finally see. If you knew what a love is, maybe we'd still be driving on the same old road. I miss us, but the truth is we weren't meant to be forever. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter. I can't lose myself, need to let go. It's now or never. Want to break the spell you've put on me, never coming back, just let me be. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter. If you knew what a lie is, not as much, but the truth is. Want to break the spell you've put on me, never coming back, just let me be. Hold me in the dark, all alone, my soul won't shatter.
Wow, what a cool track, Taro. Really cool. Let's go ahead and add this. I'm not going to forget about the playlist this time. I'm going to right off the bat add this to the playlist because that's definitely a best of, what's today, March 11, 26. Hell yeah. And by the way, I'm going to be sharing this afterwards in our... Oops, files. There we go. I'm gonna be sharing this later in the drive. No, in the Discord. So if you're following or if you're not in our Discord, go ahead and join. The link is in the description below. What's Vocalify? I actually don't Vocalify. Free royalty free vocals. Okay, I'm not. Okay, here's the thing. I really liked. Oh yeah, Vocalify is AI. Okay, I think it sounds good except for the vocals. To be honest, the vocals just sound so artificial that it just takes me out of the actual song itself. I would recommend finding a vocalist for this and having them re-record, because you can hear it just sounds.
What's going on inside my mind? I feel it crashing.
Just really, the quality is very strange to it. And so I think it's a really cool song, other than the vocals. I think you did a great job with the arrangement. I don't really have any other recommendations for this, except for I would find a vocalist to just re-sing this. I like the melody, but again, just the quality of the vocals is taking away from the production itself. Oh, it says Keaton thinks he's using the wet vocals that are already processed. So yeah, maybe try just using the dry vocals and then reprocessing them. That might take it to the next level. But yeah, otherwise it sounds awesome. I mean, how cool is this drop here? Fucking hyphy. Also a good example of like the use of space really enhancing the performance. Like when the drums drop out here, it like gives all this space and it doesn't detract from the power. It actually adds to the power. So really cool, really well done. All right, let's go on to our next one, which we have Imprisoned Acceptance. And remind me in the chat who this is. And again, guys, I love knowing more. I think everybody likes knowing more about how this was created. So when your track's playing, please go ahead and write what DAW you're producing in, any fun facts, what synths you're using, or what you like to, any fun production stuff you want to include, how you produce the drums, what loops are being used, etc. This is a good place to share and learn. Okay. Awesome. Way to go, Josh. I really like this one. This is one of my favorites that you've submitted so far. And I remember this about last time, and also this time you're doing a really good job differentiating out your sections instead of having like one kind of prolonged similar vibe loop. This definitely feels like different vibes throughout the track, which I think you did a great job with, and like stripping it away and then bringing it back big. So in general, it's awesome. I would say just the main thing that stood out to me where I think you could improve are the drums in like this slower section. The drums don't feel like intentional. They feel like random hits. I don't think they're contributing to the vibe or the feel of the song. So I would go back through and ask yourself, like, one, do you want to have drums there? Because I can't really tell if like you actually want like percussive elements in this section, or if like they kind of just like fell in. So decide if you want percussive elements here, and then if you do, think about just be more intentional about how you are programming in your drums. I don't know how much of it is easy drummer just like doing it for you, but I can't really find the rhyme or reason for the drums in this section. And then also there was another area very similar. This area. No. Yeah, and then they start again. So I would just kind of refine those sections where there's kind of those sporadic drums and just be more intentional about how you're programming it. But otherwise, I think it's sounding really good. And I like this new style. I haven't heard the style from you, like the more like kind of almost bassy, like classical guitar type guitar. So yes, stoked on this one. And Josh, thank you for submitting it. All right, our next song is Comatose Master, and I believe this one is by Elisa Ronca. Wait, let me try it. Elisa Aaron, or Elias Aaron Caballero Cazares. I think I got that right. Okay, here we go. Good one. Oh, got you. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. Let's give this a listen. Comatose. And please, Elias, do share more about the song in the bio. Awesome. Okay, the chat agrees. We love this one. Let's go ahead and add it to our playlist. There we go. Let's see. I would say for this guy, well, one, just some flattery. I think this is just a really, really full, solid song. I think you do a great job of blending your instruments. It's like at certain points you can't even really tell like what's coming in and out because it's all of a sudden like swell and like I'll hear these like new instruments like a I think I heard a horn in there somewhere. Like all of a sudden there's this like horn coming in and then all of a sudden it's like we're moving into this like other like guitar like piano. It seems like you had like a different instrument coming in kind of all the time, but it always was like in the flow. So really good job blending your instruments and like thickening your sound. Something I will say is I think you could do more panning and more like spreading out. Everything was really down the center, and I think that was muddying your vocals. Like your vocals sound really good, but they particularly when there are a lot of instruments happening, they just like totally fall into the background and blend with all the other instruments. And I want them to have a kind of like a force field around them, right? Like a crispiness or like yeah, you know what I'm saying? Instead of it all like muddling together, I think of it as like the vocals having like some like refined edges. And I listed a couple ideas for how to do that in the comments. One, panning more of our sounds. Any auxiliary instruments, like all the instruments you're pulling in, like those don't need to be in the center, right? Those can be off to the left or the right. Spreading out sounds when you can to make more energy down the middle, and then also EQing what I call the home zone of your vocals out of other instruments. So when I refer to the home zone of a sound, I'm referring to the frequencies or the frequency range where the frequency range where the essence of your sound lives. So for my vocal, for example, the essence of my vocal is around 3,000. Like if I were to scan my vocal for different frequencies around 3,000, that's where it sounds the most like me, right? That is where the essence of my vocal lies. So if I wanted to make more room for my vocal in a track, I would cut around 3,000 from any sounds like synths or anything that's competing with my vocal and in that similar range. So I would do the same for you. Find out where your voice is like the most natural version of itself, its home zone. For you, it's probably a little bit lower. You have a lower voice than I do, so maybe 2,500 or something like that. And that's what you want to carve out of different instruments. Just in general, a tip with EQ guys, we are emphasizing what sounds good and we are taking out what sounds bad. So if you have any frequencies that aren't like sparking joy in a sound, right? It's a, like muddiness or like honkiness or any frequencies where you're like, yeah, this isn't contributing to the essence of the sound, pull it out. The less frequencies we have in here, the better, because then it makes all the other frequencies that remain more clear and more powerful. Awesome. I feel like there's a lot of chats and I'm not sure which ones I need to read right now. Giovanni asks, can you listen to my music? Yes, there is a link to upload your music in the description. And then I will be asking for the name of your track later, and I'll add it to the queue. Okay, fabulous. Sorry, and Prodigy uploaded something. We can get to that later. We don't listen to songs on YouTube. We're uploading them through Boombox. So again, the link to that is in the description. Okay. If I fart in a mic, will you review it? If you upload it to Boombox, then I will listen to it and I will give you a review. All right, on to the next one, which is Ashley's song. All right, Ashley, let's check it out. All of you guys have long intros today. I don't know why. Okay. Oh, I kind of like these like weird little whispers at the end. I wonder if you could do something even more with that. That seems like maybe some kind of like a portal or like a delay or like a pitch hack on that. I'm curious. Whatever you do with the vocals there, I feel like there's more fun to be had with the vocals throughout the track. But fuck yeah, Ashley, thank you so much for submitting this. This is fire. Um, let's see, the only like main things that I think you could change in this are just more vocals. And I don't know if you were kind of going for the more tucked away vocals, because it kind of is giving like Grimes in that like Grimes loves to bury her vocals in back. She doesn't like have them up front. So if that's what you're going for, that's totally fine. But like, especially at the beginning here when I was hearing this vocal. Vocal sounds lovely, but I want more. I want that same vocal, but I want one on the left and I want one on the right. And I would love maybe like a lower harmony down the center. I would like that to be taking up a lot more space and like that to be the main entree at that moment. So I would definitely layer that up. Maybe adding like some like pitch shifting too. Like, I don't know if you ever use auto shift on your vocals, but that can be a fun way to create different versions that are either transposed or have a different format, and that kind of thickens it up. And then also, I mean, besides that, I thought it was good. Someone in the chat said that this feels repetitive. It didn't feel repetitive in a bad way to me. It's just like it's a club track where like the intention is to be repetitive and like to get into the zone. So I was in the zone for it. And other than that, I think it sounds great. So Ashley, thank you for submitting this. I'm gonna go ahead and add it to our playlist. And for anyone new who submitted a song, we have I think one more on the queue, and then I'll take calls for you to type in the name of your song and I'll give it a listen. All right, our next one is G minor 2 EQ 4. I forget who submitted this one. So, Art Machine. Art the Machine. Let's give it a listen. And also, I don't know why it's sounding super wide. Does it sound wider than normal? I'm not hearing the width on my end. If ever the quality is sounding particularly bad, sometimes I do forget to mute my mic, and so it might be coming in twice, and I try to remember, but I don't always succeed. So sorry if for like half of the song or for the first couple of seconds it sounds not as good, because I just have to remember to mute my mic. All right. Art Machine, let us know anything we should know about this track, whatever you want to share. Oh my god, this is such a sweet track. It was giving like I mentioned this, it sounds like kind of like an anime like soundtrack, right? I can imagine like Totoro walking through like the fields with his little Totoro friends in tow, listening to the song, right? That is like totally the vibe. It's so sweet. I really like this one. I think the production, you're really onto something with the production here. I think the next thing for you to focus on is the mixing, right? So all the sounds, it's very kind of quiet and down the center. We have this big 180-degree sphere of space, right? I already talk about this, or I always talk about this. We have all this space where we can put our sounds. We can put sounds to the left and to the right. We can put them in front and we can put them in back. We can make them narrow and wide, and we can place them up and down with our different tools. So I think the ones that you need to focus on specifically are your left and right, right? How you are putting sounds off to the sides to utilize this full space, and also bringing everything up more. And you know that's okay. I could just turn up the volume on my interface, but also next time if you're bouncing something out for something like this, you might want to put a limiter on it and bring everything kind of further up so that it's a bit louder and filling in the space a bit more. And then also I flagged this here, but you always want to be thinking about automation in movement. There's so many little sounds coming in left and right here. Right? Like da 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 da. And how can we add movement to that, right? Maybe it's da, 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 right? Maybe you pan something from the left or to the right, or have it come from the back up to the front, or automating something on it. So we're always thinking about how we can add movement to our sounds, because that is what gives us a professional sounding track. So food for thought, but I really enjoyed this song. Thank you so much for submitting it. All right, we're going to take in some more tracks because that is our cue. So if you have a track that you have uploaded, go ahead and type the name of it in the chat, and we're going to start filling up our queue again. Please send the exact name of the track so it's easy for me to find. Yeah, and I will say I do private one-on-one classes, so if anybody wants to work more on the track or thinks what I have to say is interesting and wants to dive into it further, feel free to DM me, email me, lillianfrancismusic@gmail.com, whatever, get in touch and we can set something up. And I'm also a mixing engineer, so if you're looking to get your song mixed, definitely holler at me. Okay, let's find I Look at You. That's a good one. Let's add that to the queue. And I'm sorry that the audio is, I'm actually curious if other people are hearing this. Ashley says the audio is low and really wide. I'm hearing it as normal, and I'll go back and watch the stream again to hear what you guys are hearing. But let me know if that's also happening with other people's whatever setup, or if it's just Ashley. Okay, working mix number 2. Let's add that to the queue. Knives Out demo. Fabulous. That's only 3. We have room for a couple more. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. Wow, that's so fucking annoying. Why is it being so small and wide? It's already turned up all the way on mine. I literally just went through this with somebody else, trying to figure out. I wonder if I could do application capture. Would that work? Let me see if I do application capture and let me just play a little piece of this and see if it shares sound. No, that's just sound getting picked up from my mixer. Okay, we'll try switching it back to not window capture. Actually, let me try one more thing quickly. If we do a window capture and then I share the advanced audio properties and I turn the monitoring to monitor and output. Let's see if this works. No. Okay, in that case, sorry guys, I haven't figured out what's wrong with that. So I'm going to need to share the properties again. Okay. Hello, Chrome. Properties. There we go. All right. Sorry, guys. It's always a one tech thing after the other. Okay. You guys are great. Thank you for the support in the chat. All right. Any other songs to add on to the OBS is actually not even going through my interface, Rook 1E. It is being shared directly from my through my source. Actually, you know what, guys? I have one other idea for making this better. If we share my other display. My god, this is confusing. Sorry, guys. Just a second. Properties, built-in retina. Okay. Let me see if perhaps... Oh. If this will share. Because I was technically like sharing the sound from a retina display. Scale to window. Let's see if this works, and if not, then we'll go back to how we had it. But let's see if we share this.
What's going on inside my mind? I feel it crashing. Wish I could be who was before those days are gone. If you knew what a love is, maybe we'd still be driving on the same old road. I'm obsessed, but the truth is we weren't meant to be forever.
Oh my god, guys, when it's not one thing, it's another thing. Thank you guys for your patience and dealing with technical difficulties for me. Being a modern day producer is just one technical difficulty after the next. Okay, let's listen to our next one with his Aka, sharing a hard bass heavy house track. Cool. And I also see they are open for collabs and networking, so reach out to them if you want to collab or network. Also, a good place to do that is in the Discord. Okay, let's give it a listen, y'all. That was a really satisfying song to listen to. Fuck yeah. Ika, thank you for submitting this. Very cool. You'll see I didn't really add a lot. Thoughts that came to mind is when this bass came in. Oh man, such a good groove. So much forward energy. Would love to know how you program these drums. Let us know. But as soon as the bass comes in, I like realize that this whole section, it just like real. It makes me feel like this is like so much emptier compared to this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I don't necessarily think you should change that because again, I do like the evolution. Someone else said this in the chat, but the evolution of like not a lot of bass, like kind of muffled, and then like the bass like really hitting, you know, around here, around what is that, like 30. But it is a relatively long amount of time to not like to be in that background kind of space, if that makes sense. I'm not gonna say do one thing or another about that. Those are just my thoughts, and you don't necessarily need to do anything about them. But that's what I'm thinking about. And then also, I just want to like point out this automation you do here. It's really cool. You're automating a couple different things. Let's give it a listen. One, you're automating the speed of the drums. I'm not sure if it's continually slowing down or if it just goes from like a 16th note or whatever to an 8th note or whatever. But you're also automating the pitch to go up. And take note, you guys. Oh my god, I was just talking about this for like an hour with another student. any automation that you can do before the drop is going to be really powerful. So like, how can you automate the hi-hats to be pitched up, right? Or automate the speed to slow down, or like come back up. Automation is always our friend, right? We're always trying to add movement and tell a story, but particularly around drops and when you're transitioning from one part of a song to the next part of a song, it's especially powerful. So everyone go back to the drawing board, go back to the song, and think about like the drop, or right around where the we go from verse to chorus or whatever, and think, what can you automate there, because that is a really sweet spot. Cool. Yeah, otherwise just like really satisfying every time the kick hits. I'm curious, do you remember if your hi-hats or your snare are early? It has like such a fast feel to it, and like a tripping over itself kind of feel. I would assume you brought the kick and the hats a little bit forward, but I'm curious how you made that groove, because it's very cool. Thank you so much for submitting this. All right, on to our next one. Oh, and I also want to add this guy to our playlist. Best of. Yeah. All right. Knives Out demo. Anti-Rookie. Let us know in the chat anything we should know about the song, and let's give it a listen.
Knives are out. Ready to begin. Knives are out.
Cool. This is a really fun track. I agree with whoever said it sound like the name is very fitting right off the bat. I also totally agree. Just a really cool, bouncy, fun track. I don't have a ton of actually feedback at all for this, because I think it really hits the nail on the hammerhead shark. But I do want to call out this really good example of automation. Again, right here, going into the drop, listen to how that sound morphs as we're getting closer to the chorus. Nice. It's really good. It's like you're setting it up for the drop and then it doesn't drop and then it kind of builds again and then a drop. It's fun. But I'm curious what you're using to create that sweep. If it's just a normal filter or if you're using something more intense like transit or something like that. But otherwise, I think it's sounding great. I think you should finish this up and put it out. Thank you for submitting. And I do see that someone got skipped. So let's find out what was your song name. Sometimes when I press just next on Boombox, but the next song's already playing, I don't realize it, and then it just the next one goes off. But let me know. Sorry and Prodigy, what is the name of your track? I know it's somewhere in here. While I wait for working mix 2. Okay, cool. We'll add that in a second. And I also just actually want to briefly talk about this comment I made here. This song is a great example of a lot's happening, but not a lot's happening. It's very clear. Listen how clear this is. There's actually not a lot happening, right? It's like few melodies. It's a couple really important instruments, and they're only keeping in the sounds that are necessary. There is no fluff in this track. Every single sound has a purpose, and therefore you can get away with a really big sound with not a ton happening, right? It's relatively simple and therefore relatively clear, and therefore every single sound really can take up its own space. So great job on this one. And let's also add this to our playlist. There we go. And to the song that I skipped, Working Mix. Let's give it a listen. All right. Sorry and Prodigy. Let's check it out. I'm feeling much better. Are we better off dead? Or another line in time's letter? We've seen it all. I'm not gonna stop. I'm through hearing lies of a mediocre life. Body feels sore. All the work and it's always hurting. I'm forgetting what for. Talking like, okay, I'm just so what? All for us, all for what? All for us, I'm taking all, taking all, taking all. Find a new way to hide up all my time. Whoever said that I'm giving up? Take advice if you need it for your fantasy. We're not finna be left out. I'm getting up with sunken eyes. Love you what it's like. Now my life is mine. It's right. That's why my body feels sore. All the work and it's always hurting. I'm forgetting what for. Talking like, okay, I'm just so what? All for us, all for what? All for us, I'm taking all, taking all, taking all. Taking all, taking all. Close too many times, keeping them in mind. Picture us in waterfalls. No, I've been too blind to see that they're mine. Enough for us, let's go. I will never let you go. Yeah. Body feels so all the work and it's always hurting. I'm forgetting what for. Talking That's a really sick song. Well done with this. I am stoked to have this on the stream. Also a pretty different vibe than we normally get. I don't get a ton of like rock songs. This is reminding me a lot of my other friend's music, Dune Dogs. I don't know if you guys know him, but very much in the similar genre, and I really like it. Bad ass. So much going on here. Great stuff. The reason I asked at the beginning of this is AI vocals is they sound super processed, and I would turn down the processing. Do you hear that sheen and that shine on them? That like immediately triggers my brain at this point to be like, is this fake? So I would bring back that shine. I don't know if you're probably putting some high-end exciter. I don't know if like fresh air, which one you're using, but I would bring that down. It's too much, particularly when the vocals are heard in isolation like this. I wasn't noticing it as much like around here. Like the vocal processing here I actually really like. It's still really shiny and really airy, and I still would turn that back down, but it's less hard to tell, or it's harder to tell when there's other stuff going on. At the very beginning though, it feels too highly processed. And then what else I want to say about this girl? I feel like the verses actually hit like harder than chorus. This feels less loud than that. Like this feels way louder to me than this. The way that I would manage that would be either like manually turning down maybe like the vocals in this one, because the vocals are like very in the verse, the vocals are very upfront, and the chorus there's just so much other stuff in there that they get pushed back a little bit. So I don't know, maybe in the verses like bringing down the vocals a little bit so it matches more how we're hearing the vocals in the chorus, or doing volume automation, which I mentioned here. Volume automation and or with automation. Here is a super savvy, super sneaky little trick. What you can do is you can automate the gain on a utility. Don't automate the volume of the track itself. That will fuck you over later. But automate the utility's gain to go from 0 down to like -2, -1, -3 right before the drop, and then back up to 0 when the chorus hits. So it's like the volume is turning down very subtly so people don't realize that it's falling back. And then when it comes to 0, right, when it pops back up to 0 when the chorus hits, it makes the chorus sound bigger. We're using volume to our advantage here. Volume makes stuff sound up front or in back. Another reason why it might not be as loud here is because during the chorus, is there's just so much happening that we're losing headroom, right? In our last example, we saw how using very few instruments and very crisp, clear instruments allowed everything to be really pushed and really turned up, right? There wasn't a lot, so everything got its space. I think what we're running into in the chorus is that there's so much going on and there's not enough EQ happening that like we're filling up the entire frequency spectrum and really saturating it to the point where there's not like too much more that we can push it volume wise, right? So I would also recommend going through your chorus and going through every single sound and listening to the frequencies. You can isolate frequencies with your EQ and recognize when there's a pocket of frequencies that aren't really sparking joy, aren't really contributing to the essence of the sound, and cutting those out. Whenever we cut anything out of our EQ, we're giving space for other sounds that might be more important in that frequency range to come in and fill that zone. So I would suggest just doing some more EQ around the chorus, and then the verse is sounding great. Also for the verse though, I might bring down your background vocals a little bit. I think they're almost the same volume, or they grab the same attention as the lead vocal, so I would just bring them all down. Coolio. But this is a sick song. Definitely, yeah, you said release this in June. Awesome. Stoked about it. Definitely let us know when you do release it. Post it in the Discord when you do. Also, guys, I really hope that you are able to learn from other people's songs, because the tips that I'm giving here are song specific, but I'm also trying to make them just as general, like music production lessons as possible, because I really hope that you get a little something from every track. And I hope that you're getting stuff out of your own opinions, right? When you're listening to a song, make your own opinions. How does it sound? What would you do different? Right? And then that'll hopefully kind of just help inform your critical listening skills and being able to improve your own tracks. So that's everything on the queue so far. Let's open up the queue and see if we have anyone else. Is there anybody in here who has submitted a song that we have not listened to yet? We're gonna go ahead and open that up. And then also, let me go ahead and add this to our playlist. Total banger, March 11th. There we go. Awesome, guys. And let's see, what else? I want to also pin that, I don't know if you guys saw, but I released a YouTube video on live performance last week. I'm really trying to get back into long form content because I like it so much better than short form content, and find it a lot more satisfying and fulfilling, because I think I could just get to teach my ideas and like have them come across in a way that makes just a lot more sense. So check that out if you're interested in learning how to perform live with Ableton. I did a full breakdown of a pretty involved live set I performed a couple weeks ago, and broke it down. So I will drop that in the chat when I get a second. But otherwise, if you just go on my YouTube and search Lillian Francis live breakdown, you'll find it. All right. Hasima, we don't listen to your tracks until you specifically are in the chat telling us to listen to it. So if you're here, I can add Going North to the chat. And then O-Face is Not My Type. P5 Organ Abuse. Okay, let's add those three. And again, if anybody else has one to submit, please do so. So let's add, here we go. P5 Organ Abuse. Add to queue, Not My Type. Add that one to queue. And then Going North. There we are. Oh, we got a Logic Boy. All right. Boy or girl, I'm not sure who you are. Okay, add to queue. Great. Next five. Next one, we got P5 Organ Abuse by Anima Makes Music. Let's check it out. Fun! First off, welcome to Anima and O-Face, who just saw this stream on their homepage and joined. We love to see it. We love to have you. we're open to all genres and stages of production. So whatever you send will be greeted with welcome arms. And you mentioned here, Anima, that it's your first time playing the actual live keyboard. And you've been making music for half a year and keyboard for 2 months at that time. I love it. I'm stoked for you that you're just getting into your keys swagger and getting into music production. That's very, very cool. So what I would recommend for this one, I mean, one, I think it's pretty good. It's got different sections. I think that maybe some different sounds. It's kind of a cheesy sounding keyboard. I'm not sure what DAW you're working in. Let us know. But if you replace just like some of the sounds, I think it'll sound more professional. It's just like kind of a basic keyboard tone. And I think just maybe flipping through a couple other different keyboard presets, you can find something that feels a little bit more mature. And then also I think there's just a lot of space in here for like some pads or something to glue it all together. Let's give this spot a listen. You know, like we have like a pretty basic 4 instruments, but start thinking about what are other sounds we can pull in. Maybe some pads, right? We don't necessarily need new melodies, but thickening up the melodies and or the chords that we already have can go a long way. I'm curious what you are producing in. If you're working in Ableton, there's a lot of ways that you can play around with these sounds too and get some more like ear candy and weird stuff like that. So which is not as easy if you're working in like GarageBand or Logic or something like that, but still fully doable. Very cool. Thank you for submitting. I loved getting to hear this, and I hope you come again soon to another song share. All right, let's listen to our next one that we have, Not My Type by Owen. Let's give this a listen. Oh, and I guess this is pads haven't even looked into. That's totally fine. One step at a time. I think you're doing great for now. Just keep doing it. All right, Not My Type V1. Let's check it out.
Girls get stuck up in my head like a pop hit. Take them home, get them a little wet. I've got that faucet. Barista crush, work wife, server, and a gym chick. But I need a couple backup women ready to hit it the minute after they quit.
If you want it, if you want that, put in the work when you get it. Oh, darling, feel it shaking, body's quaking. Oh.
Get active when I'm restless, be chill when I'm a geek. Coy like a shy girl and wild like a freak. Make plans with all of our homies when I'm bored or feeling down, and anticipate when I need space, when it will be great to just have you around.
Let's take a minute,
okay,
to unpack your logical thoughts. You think your type comes out of a box.
Yep.
Put all the ingredients in and poof, look what you got. You say you want a partner, but you're looking for perfection, which, my dear, is an abstraction, which is short for a distraction. Real love is energy.
Oh, yeah.
In and out, in and out. I can feel your energy washing over me. The energy from me to you, that's my time. Can't you feel it too?
I was toying with the roster, now I'm playing on a team. Used to stare at women, now I'm feeling seen. I love your body, pick your brain, I appreciate your personality traits. Chasing an eraser, now my page is looking new. Chapters full of lies, excites, here's the truth. In a flash, it all clicked. Attraction ain't something you could predict. Fit together really tight, we always talk and never fight on paper. Baby, in my type in practice, though it feels so right.
Real love is energy, in and out, in and out.
awesome. This was a really fun one. This was funny. I appreciated this. Okay, so you guys are working with the producer, but you're looking for notes on style, dynamics, vocal mixing, songwriting, and production. The most of like the mixing things that stood out to me were vocal mixing. The number one thing you want to do when you're mixing is figure out the leveling, figure out the volume. And I think that that's a big one that you're running into here, is that your vocal, or assuming, I'm not sure which one is you, but if you're the dude vocal, then yours is much lower than her vocal. Like, listen to the difference between these two. Ah. Aki.
Attraction ain't something you can predict. Fit together really tight, we always talk and never fight on paper. Baby, ain't my type in practice, though it feels so right. Real love is energy.
I think she's a little too high, and I think you're a little bit too far back. So meet you guys in the middle. I'm wondering if you've ever used a compressor before. Compressor on vocals is super, super important. I would definitely throw a compressor on this. A trick to some light, subtle compression is throwing on a compressor. A medium for this, probably a medium-ish attack, 10 to 20 milliseconds, and bring down that threshold until you're getting around 3 to 6 decibels of gain reduction, 2 to 4 decibels more like of gain reduction, and that will even everything out, because I think that's the main problem here, is just like the evening out. I'm not sure if you're doing the mixing or if the producer is doing the mixing, but I will also add that before you even add compression, though, you want the volumes to be as level as possible. So go through and turn up and down certain clips, certain words, whatever. And you want to feed that really balanced signal into a compressor, and then it'll work much better. And then what else? Yeah, there are parts in this where I'm like, oh my god, I love the vocals on the side. Like, I can hear it in this area. They're just like really low, and in there, that's very, very smooth move. But I would add more harmonies and more like vocal layers, and sorry, by harmonies, I actually really, like, yes, harmonies, but also just more of the lead vocal. Like, take that a couple more times, maybe 3 to 5 times, and pan them out around. And then bring all those down a little bit for the chorus, because you really want dynamics, right? When we go from the verse to the chorus, and one way we can do that is go from, one little vocal to a lot of big wide vocals, and have the chorus really swell, and then you can fall back in for the verse. So those are my two or my few ideas. I don't know how many ideas I've shared, but I think it is sounding great, and I am stoked on it. Okay, as you can see, we lost another one. Where was the next one? Going North. Here we go. Okay, let's check out Going North. Let's give it a listen. Oh, and for any of you guys who stumbled upon this stream randomly, I go live every other Wednesday at this time. So every other Wednesday at 2 p.m. PST, and join us. It's a lot of fun. And also, if you want to hang out in between our live sessions, you can go ahead and join the Discord. And the Discord is what you make of it. So share as much as you want. Collaborate with people if you want. Yeah. Again, I'm not honestly managing it very closely, so like, it is your own playground. Have fun with it. All right, Going North, Logic. Let's give this a listen. Cool, Hasima, thank you for sharing and for uploading this. It is a solid track, and there's a lot of room for expanding it kind of as much as you want. I think the main thing is that we have only like 3 instruments, right? So there's a lot of room for more instruments to come in. It feels very mechanical. Both the piano and the bass feel very programmed to the grid, like devoid of emotion. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but that's just I'm just very honest in these streams because that's, I know what you guys want. I think that's what you want. So a couple different ways that you can kind of help with that. One is adding in like humanization. I'm not sure if you're working in Ableton, but Ableton has really great like humanization knob where you can select all your bass notes and add some humanization, and then it kind of changes the timing a little bit. So I might recommend that for the basses, and then also for the piano. It's just kind of a little bit of a boring staccato, like, you know, progression. So I would almost want, well, one, layer it with similar sounds and creating similar chords, but in different instruments and maybe with different rhythms. So instead of da da da, maybe there's like a pad underneath that's like a big, wide, lush pad that's going da da, right? And then maybe there's another instrument that is doing kind of a similar thing, but a different, slightly different rhythm. So maybe there's a guitar arpeggio that's arpeggiating what you're doing on your piano. So I think just inviting new instruments to come in to thicken up your sound, and also introduce possibly some more like interesting rhythmic changes throughout. Coolio. But otherwise, I think you're off to a good start, and there's some fun room for improvement here. Cool. Is there anybody else who submitted a song that we have not gotten to? If there's anybody else on the stream and we have not listened to your song yet, please post the name in the chat. Otherwise, that is all of our songs for today. You guys, it is such a delight to be back. I know I was gone for an extra week. I was in Mexico rock climbing a week ago, which was very fun, but it's good to be back. Missed you guys. We do this every other week, so please join us for the next one. Put it in your calendar. Our next one is going to be, today's March 11th. It'll be on March 25th at 2 p.m. PST. It looks like we got one more track happening. Kotuva. Rave Estelar. All right, listen to this one. And then again, anybody else who has yet to submit a track, Stay Inside. Okay, we're going to listen to this one, and then we'll add Stay Inside to the queue. Add to queue. All right, where is this one? Rave Estelar. All right, let's give it a listen. Cool. Fuck yeah, dude. That was a fun song. And yeah, you said you're experimenting with making party music, so very fun experimentation. Here's what I would say. I mentioned this here, but the bass I would bring way the fuck down. It's just kind of taking over the whole track. We don't need it that loud. I actually have really poor bass response on these speakers, but it was like too strong even on these speakers, which means something. Great, like fun stuff happening here on the rise going into the drop though. Nice use of space and automation and stuff like that. Something I will say is this, like that upper, like higher, like arpeggiating, like synth. That's really, I'm not really attracted to that, to be honest. That as a sound, I know it's like really central to the song, so I'm sorry to say this, but I don't know like how much it's adding to the track. It's kind of just adding this like confusion throughout the entire time. It feels more like it's adding confusion than telling a story. And so if you're like really stoked on that sound, I would say either like how can we fade it in so it's like you don't hear it at the beginning and then you hear it kind of as the chorus goes on and as you're like kind of tumbling into like chaos before you like pull it back and like drop into another verse or drop into a section that's more mellow. So I would use that as like a chaos instigator, not as like a hearing it throughout the entire track. I like the frequencies and I like the actual sound. I think it's more just like the freneticness of the note that isn't really sitting right with me. And this is definitely an opinion, so you can fully disregard, but that's just my opinion. I would, if it's being arpeggiated, but I'm not sure if it's just how the instrument is, or if you have an arpeggiator on it or whatever, but I would recommend, I don't know, experimenting with like arpeggiation that makes a little bit more sense or is a little less random feeling. I think that's going to help like tell the story. And if you're not sure, like if the story that you're telling is chaos, then I would keep it the way it is. But if you're trying to tell a different story and you want a different energy, I would change that because it feels a little bit just chaotic with that happening. But otherwise, if you're just like getting into like dance music and house music, this is an awesome start. So congrats on this one, and thank you so much for submitting it. All right, on to the next one. We have Stay Inside by Edster. Let's check it out, Edster. Wow, I really loved this one. I will be adding this to the playlist. Thank you for sending this. Yeah, it's such a beautiful vibe. I commented, but I was like, I'm definitely on a field in Europe on a vacation, possibly on my bike. Actually, or maybe I have a picnic basket in hand. Definitely a picnic basket in hand. I kind of felt like I was in The Sound of Music, but without the weird war and the Nazi part. So great vibe. I think this is either perfect just the way it is, or also like I was imagining some like indie male vocals. It like very like mellow counter melodies joining in on this. So if you have someone to send this to, or if you do vocals yourself, maybe try adding vocals to this. But otherwise, just a really great track. I'm not sure if this was mixed. I think the only thing that I would like do to get this ready for the final release is just a little bit more mixing. It sounds like it needs very minor tweaks, but I would go through the mixing process for this. And by the way, I don't know if you guys have watched any of my mixing videos. I have a number of them out there. I have a whole playlist on my YouTube about mixing videos, and I break down my different steps for mixing. I have an 8-step mixing approach where you go organization, volume, panning, space, width, compression, no, EQ, saturation, EQ, and compression. Those are like the 8 different things I will do to every track. And for you, I would just go through this and be like, okay, panning, is it, or volume, is everything volumed right? Okay, I think there are little volume tweaks that I make here and there. Like the guitars felt a little bit loud in comparison to, and then go on to the next thing. So panning, is everything panned exactly the way you want it to? And then the next thing, space, anything that needs reverb or needs less reverb, right? And then I think also EQ, this on this one, just a little bit of EQ to make every sound just its most like clear cut version, right? Again, we're just taking away those frequencies that are not sparking joy in our track. So I just think with the final touch of mixing, it's going to sound really good. And then, oh yeah, once you add vocals, please submit it again. I would love to hear how it sounds. But otherwise, I really like this track. Thank you for submitting. Okay, I think we have one more on our I thought I had one more on our playlist. Let me know if I'm missing one. I also did see Maya submitted one. Almaya Rooms. Let's go ahead and listen to this. If there was anybody else who has one that we haven't listened to, now is the time to put the name of that in the chat and we'll give it a listen. All right. This could be our final song, so everyone buckle in. Cool. Wow. Almaya, thank you so much for submitting this. I agree with O-Face. This feels like what I'd hear at the spa in a good way. Calming and chill, but with those curious full tones that fill up your brain. Totally. I really appreciated how you would like tease different sounds, pull them out, put them back in. You definitely have a knack for creating ambient spaces and beautiful spaces. I think, let's see, in terms of like what I would do differently. I'm not really sure. I think it sounds really good. I mean, I think there are points where there are frequency spectrums where you're not like occupying them, right? Like this section has like a lot of low end, but not that much like high end. It's very like muddly kind of in your mud zone, like around like 200 to 500. So I would pull that out some in the EQ. That feels like a little bit over powering. That'll just like clean it up and make it a little bit more clear. And you could throw in some more like high-end stuff, because right now it feels like kind of an amorphous like blob down here, particularly in this section. I'm not saying every section is like this, but there are certain sections where I'm like, I wish that, or like not necessarily I wish there are more frequencies, but there are empty areas to fill. And again, you're doing ambient music, so you don't need to be filling every frequency space all the time, but just consider that like when you're listening back to it, how is our space being filled with the frequencies, and do we want to fill in certain sections or take out frequencies from certain sections? Like for example, this section I would probably take out some of the low end and I would add in more high end. I saw that you're trying to get it more into mixing and mastering, and I posted in the chat I have a really good, I mean I'm biased, but a really good playlist of videos that I made on mixing, to check those out. Sample Valve, I see that you may have uploaded a track. Let me know if you did. Is this, which one? Let me know what the name of your track is, and we'll make that our last one. But other than that, you guys, I really appreciate you coming on and joining. I love having these streams and getting to hang out and chat music. I always learn a lot from you guys and listening to your tracks, and I feel really honored that you guys share them with me and take my opinion into consideration. So Sample Valve, still not sure what track. Gimme Candy and Ibiza. Okay, guys, well, we got like 10 more minutes, so we'll make these the final two. We're listening to Gimme Candy and Ibiza, and then Keith knows you were first on here, and it's 3:50, and you're now letting us know the name of your track. What is up, dude? Okay, we're gonna add this to the queue, and then the final one is gonna be Ibiza. Fuck yeah. Okay, let's give these a listen, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Gimme Candy, let's hear it. Dude, what's up with this like hyphy ass fucking piano at the end? I'm like, I want me some more of that. Where was that the whole time? Dude, this is a really sick song. Totally bumpin'. Thank you for submitting this. Sample Valve. Wait, that's the one we're listening to, right? I think we're listening to Sample Valves, Gimme Candy. Yes, okay. Really badass. Let's see. Something I noticed is it's very crunchy and it's heavily distorted. I'm not sure if that's an intentional move you were making. I think it could tone back the distortion a little bit because I was kind of distracted by it. Like, I can hear it very strong, like the distortion very strongly in the drums and then also in the vocals. So if that's intentionally like the vibe you're wanting to bring across, then it's fine. But if you're not intentionally trying to downgrade it and make it lower quality, you just downgraded it and made it lower quality. So I would distort it less. And then also, there's a lot happening the entire time. This is a log and a half. So think about places where you can drop out sounds, maybe full silence altogether, right? Silence is a really powerful tool, especially when we have so many different things happening. It helps us clue back in, it kind of resets our focus and our attention, and it engages us a little bit more. So I would go through and see if there are places where you can take out some or all of the sounds momentarily or for a section or whatever. But I really like the bass in this one. It hits really hard and really strong, and it's a really fun vibe. I like how you switch up the vibe throughout. We're like in one land and then we're in a different land, and then like this ending area is so cool. So bitchin' track, thank you so much for submitting this. We've got one more track to listen to. Sorry to B-Boy Lalu and Steven, welcome back, Steven. This is the last song of the stream, and then we're gonna wrap it up. I listen to as many songs as you guys have for me, or until it gets to be 4 o'clock, whichever one comes first. And I gotta get up and stretch and go pee, so I can't keep doing this forever, even though I would love to hear your songs. Our next session is going to be 2 weeks from now. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. or every other Wednesday at 2 p.m. PST. So the next one is going to be March 25th. So just submit those tracks again and be sure to log on. We'll only listen to the tracks if you're here present in the chat. Coolio. All right, this is our final one we've got, and this is Keatno's Ibiza Master. Let's give it a listen. Cool. Fuck yeah, Keaton knows. This is a banger for sure. I think it's overall we're super close. Just a couple little notes I have here. One, I know you're going for, you said you were going for like the Avicii like levels kind of vibe. I don't think the melody being repetitive is necessarily the what was kind of felt a little off. I think it's just like that high end. It's like such a screechy high noise. I feel like that could be equally as effective an octave lower, or maybe that like very high, like have it like as a duplicate, but like turn down the volume way down. But it did feel like there was like, it sounds kind of like a mosquito, to be honest. Like, and then you have to have it the entire time. I think it's a little bit exhausting to listen to be honest. Like when we switch over to the end to this lower synth, I felt like so much more relief. And you know what else I also like about this is that you got rid of a lot of that like low end, like the synth stuff. Like there's so much like mid to low synths here. That is just like, it sounds just like a big like mush pot of sounds. Like I really only hear like 4 sounds here. I hear like there's like a bass, there's the mush pot of sound kind of in the low mids, and then there's like the really high mosquito, and there's like the drums. And I feel like there's like a big like chunk out of the middle missing. That could be filled in, I think, by taking those higher ones and transposing them down, or maybe trying to transpose up some of those like kind of like low mid like muddle things. But the low mid like muddle just doesn't sound like much of anything to me. I think it would be more powerful to have less synths at a higher volume than more synths all kind of like running into each other, because it's a little bit, there's like no like tonality to like the lower ones. Like I'm not really sure like how many instruments I'm listening to, or like how they're different, right? I think you could definitely polish off those kind of low mids a little bit more. EQ and panning will be your friends, or take some of them out. Cool. Okay, fuck yeah. But otherwise, I think it's sounding really good. And if that's your, I think you're very close to what you're going after, which is exciting. Cool. Okay, guys, that is the final song that we're going to be listening to today. So thank you, everyone, for joining and for sharing and for learning. Thank you to everyone who's supporting each other in the chat and encouraging each other, and you just right in the vibe. I love getting to hang out with you guys and listen to your music, so I appreciate you being here. Our next live stream is going to be 2 weeks from now, so every other Wednesday at 2 p.m. PST. I hope to see you there. Upload your song when you get a chance. And anything else, just if you want to ever have like a one-on-one session with me where you want to poke around in one of your songs more, you can always hit me up. I do private classes and mixing. And hi to Francesco Avisano, who just joined, and I hope you'll come back in 2 weeks for our next stream. Until then, you guys, keep producing music, keep staying stoked, and keep supporting one another. I will see you later.